Hey guys, Gina here. So it's another week of chasing sunsets. Hopefully you have been having some fun, enjoying your life, designing your life the way you want it to be. I'm not saying not have responsibilities, because those are always going to exist as long as we're alive, which is a good thing. But it's been a pretty good week. It's been busy, always, but it's been a good week. We're about to have a week of rain, so I'm so looking forward to that. So I'm kind of trying to enjoy as much fresh air and sunshine as I can today. So today I want to talk about weight loss. And I know that if you watch my other videos, you know that I follow a whole food, plant-based, no oil, no salt, no sugar diet. And I've been plant-based for many, many years. And, you know, originally it was called vegan, and then it was, you know, it transitioned over to a vegan high raw diet, and then it transitioned into me calling it plant-based, because veganism actually has a lot more to it than just the food portion of it. And not to get into semantics, but basically, you know, anytime I was ever talking about it, it was always food related. So we're going to talk about weight loss. So I actually gained like close to 40 pounds after my pregnancy. Now, it wasn't during my pregnancy, and it was after about 3 months after giving birth. So that is when my weight gain happened. So I was 43 when I got pregnant for the first and only time, and I gave birth to my daughter. I turned 44 3 weeks after she was born. So I always believed, doctors had always told me I wasn't ever going to be able to have a baby. So this was just like an absolute miracle for me. And so I'm very, very thankful. But I was trying to do everything exactly right. I ate perfectly during the pregnancy. I mean, I ate so whole food, plant-based, clean as I could during the pregnancy, because I wanted to give my body everything so I could give her everything. So then after she was born, I tried to do the whole breastfeeding thing. And I was able to a point, but I was also returning back to work. And so I ended up pumping, and which is, you know, completely fine, but I never produced enough to solely feed her that. So we did have to supplement with formula. You know, and I'm just going to say right off the record, fed is best. So however you can do it, there is absolutely no guilt, no judgment from here or anywhere else it should be. Always just feed your baby however you can do it. So if those of you that have been able to breastfeed 100% and your child got enough nutrition, perfect. Those of you that chose not to or could not, it doesn't matter. Fed is best. So I'm not going to go into that, because this is not a judgmental issue. I'm telling you my story. So basically, I really wanted, because of all my food allergies, I wanted to give her the strongest immune system that she could ever have. And so I had a lot of misconceptions and misinformation and high emotions. Plain and simple, high emotions. And so I kept pushing my body, and I was like, I'm going to provide her some form of breast milk until she is 1 year old. Even if it's 2 tablespoons a day, she's going to get some form of breast milk until she is 1. And so I forced my body to do that. And so about 4 months into this process, my body was like, you know, chick, you're 44, chill, you're not doing this anymore. And I was like, you know, stubborn? No, that's not me, not stubborn. Determined? I like that word, determined. So I was determined that I wasn't going to let my body dictate, because I thought that was the best thing to do. So I researched what foods create breast milk, what this, what that, and I was eating so much coconut. I was eating, coconut milk, coconut sugar, coconut. It was crazy. And there were some other things, but they weren't, you know, plant-based, so I didn't incorporate those. Well, I started gaining weight. And by the summer, I had already probably put on a good 15 pounds. By the fall, there went the other 15 pounds. By the time December came, which was the following year after her birth, it literally took me about 8 hours to wean. So my body was done. And if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have pushed my body that way because I wrecked my body. I did. My hormones were all messed up. I had gained so much weight. I was exhausted. I had given everything out of me to give her what I thought was the best. Now, all that said, I didn't provide anything bad for my daughter. She is very healthy. She is very energetic. And I'm glad I don't have to go through that again, because I'm not sure what my decision would be at the moment, because I'm guessing I would still be very determined and be very emotional about it and probably not thinking clearly, because I know myself. But so, she just turned 3 this last December, and I had been struggling with weight for the last, ever since then. But last year when we went into lockdown with COVID, I told you that we started really cleaning up our diet again, going back into a whole food plant-based diet because I was going back to school. Work was crazy. Having a toddler was exhausting. I wasn't getting enough sleep. Just so much going on that I was like, I need as much nutrition as I can because my body is just depleted. And so we really started following a whole food plant-based, no oil, no salt, no sugar diet. Okay. And the weight started coming off. Okay. That was a side effect. It was a good side effect. I'm totally fine with it because now I am over 30 pounds lighter, and I've 15 pounds left to go before I get back to my pre-pregnancy weight. But honestly, if I never did, I still wouldn't feel 100% better. But I still feel 95% better. It's like having a strawberry seed stuck in your teeth. You can feel it's there, but it's not going to actually hurt you. But you know that if you get it out, you're not going to be thinking about it and it's not going to be wearing at you. So that 15 pounds, I know it's there. It's probably not going to decrease my or increase my mortality rate or anything like that. It's not going to increase my disease rate or anything like that. I mean, maybe it will. But I know I feel better when I have my perfect weight. So it is still my goal to go to that point. So it got me thinking about all the weight loss plans that I have done in my life, because this was not the first time that I had struggled with weight. And so I remember back in the early 90s, I had gained a lot of weight, and I was in a relationship that was toxic, and I was working at a job I absolutely hated. I was in an overwhelmed state. I tend to get overwhelmed. I tend to do that to myself. So, I decided that then somebody introduced me. Atkins was huge back then. And so somebody introduced me to the Carbohydrate Addict's diet. And of course I bought the book, went to Barnes & Noble's because this was before Amazon, went to Barnes & Noble's, bought the book, and took the little test. And it's amazing how those tests are worded in a way that they will always fit your situation. It's like, do you feel sleepy after you eat a big meal? Do you feel hungry before you eat? I mean, and of course they word it a little bit differently than that, but that's the gist of it. They know how to word those tests in the books and stuff, and the sales pitches to make it where it makes you think you relate to it. So I did the Carbohydrate Addict diet, and it worked. It did. Until it didn't. The gist of that diet was that you didn't eat anything that had, I think it was over 4 or 6 carbs. So it limited things like broccoli. It limited things like carrots. It limited potatoes. It limited breads. It limited pretty much everything. You could eat eggs and meat and butter and cheese. And at that time, I didn't know that was what my allergy was. So I was eating those things. But then, of course, it made me feel worse too. So, but, but you had 1 hour a day, 60 whole minutes every day, that you could eat as many carbohydrates as you wanted in that 60 minutes. And supposedly, if you did that, the other 23 hours never did that, and 1 hour a day ate as many carbohydrates as you wanted, you would lose weight. Well, okay, if you're faced with wanting ice cream because you have a sugar addiction, or eating the broccoli because, it's high in carbs and you can't have it the other 23 hours a day, what do you think you're going to choose? So yes, during my 1 hour a day, I got to the point where I would eat a huge freaking bowl of like an ice cream sundae thing. And it was not the healthiest thing at all. And it didn't help my sugar addiction. I had headaches. I had bad skin. I had all kinds of drama. And I woke up one morning going, this is stupid. This is stupid. And so I decided to get off of it. And of course, as soon as I didn't follow their very strict, weird diet, I did gain some of the weight back. Not much, but some of it. So, there's all kinds of different diets out there. I have not personally tried keto. I have done some of the intermittent fasting. I do like the intermittent fasting on occasion when I feel like I need a reset. Like I just feel like the world has just gotten crazy. My eating got out of hand. I'm not focused, and I maybe got something that is causing me to have a reaction. So I do tend to go intermittent fasting when I just need a reset, but I don't do it very often. I'm talking like once every 2 years, something like that. But other things that I have tried is I actually have tried calorie counting. Who hasn't done that? I've even weighed my food. I mean, that's what, is it Weight Watchers that has you weigh your food? One of them has you weigh your food, and you can only have like so many ounces and this and that. I've even done the hand diet, where you can have fat the size of your finger, protein the size of your palm, something else the size of your fist. I don't know. I've done that. And you lose weight, but that is a very small portion control diet, which there's other variations of the portion control diet. I've actually measured my food, like literally got the measuring cups out, and I had like a half a cup of something and a fourth of a cup of something, and I put a tablespoon of something, and that kind of stuff. And it's based off of, I've got a lot of acquaintances and friends that I know that have had things like gastric bypass surgery. And the gist of it is that after they have the surgery, they can only eat like 1 or 2 bites of something at a time because their stomach has been cut out so much. I don't really know all the details of the surgery. And I know there's a few variations of it, but they basically either staple the stomach or they cut out parts of the stomach. And so instead of your stomach being this big, it's like this big. And so you're only supposed to have like a few bites here and there. And the problem with those kinds of surgeries is that your body doesn't absorb all the vitamins after you do that. So I had a dear friend of mine that had it, and she had to then start taking B12 drops and different vitamin drops and stuff, because if she didn't, she wouldn't get any of her nutrients because she couldn't get them from food anymore. And so at that point I'm thinking, why bother eating? I mean, you're doing it for the flavor. Chew some gum. But so the theory is with portion control size, it kind of follows into the whole gastric bypass theory. So you're having a fourth of a cup of something, a tablespoon of something, and your plate looks like a plate with like a little dab here, a little dab here, a little dab here, and that's all you get to eat. Okay, I don't know about you, but I was hungry. That did not work for me. And at the time, I had decided to start exercising again. And so I had joined a gym up in Oklahoma, where I was living at the time. Great gym. It's in Sapulpa. So if y'all ever if you're in the Sapulpa area, I'll comment below. I'll tell you where it is. But So I really needed more food than a tablespoon and a tablespoon and a tablespoon. But I was still trying to measure it out. So accidentally, I ran into the calorie density aspect. But even now, 6-8 years later, I had no idea that's what it was called. So let me introduce you to what a calorie density diet is. Basically, it is filling your plate and eating as much of that you want until you're full of calorie dense foods. And so it's like 8 cups of cauliflower for 200 calories. I can't even eat 8 cups of cauliflower at one sitting. But that's a lot of food. Versus 200 calories of oil is like a tablespoon and a half. So for the same amount of calories, you're getting a larger quantity of foods. And those foods are your fruits, your fresh fruits and vegetables, legumes, and your starches like potatoes and carrots and things of that nature, and rices and quinoa and stuff of that nature. So calorie density concept is very popular with McDougall and Dr. Barnard and Dr. Furman. And so you can really Google it. There's Chef AJ is a chef that's available on YouTube. She's got a lot of recipes and stuff. She also has lost weight and maintained her weight loss following a calorie dense diet. And so she has a couple of videos that talks about what she eats, and she'll make like a pound of green beans for breakfast. I can't eat a pound of green beans for breakfast. Even if I tried, I wouldn't be able to do that. So the concept of calorie density foods is basically just eating these foods that are very, fibrous and healthy and low in calories, but they are extremely nutritious. Now, avocado would not be considered one of these foods, but that doesn't mean avocados are bad. Nuts and seeds would not be these type of foods, but it doesn't mean that nuts and seeds are bad. But if you are trying to lose weight, you can follow a calorie dense plan and limit your other higher caloric foods like avocados, nuts and seeds, and things like that. Add them in as a condiment to your foods, and you will find that you will lose weight naturally, and you won't necessarily be hungry. And if you are, you can just eat more cauliflower or green beans or tomatoes or grapes or 2 apples or whatever. And so, but what gets people, and even if they're following the whole food, plant-based, no oil, no salt, no sugar diet, and how I lost the weight with that is because since I just cut out just the added oils, it was reducing the calorie intake, but my volume of food increased. So I was not hungry. I was not cranky. Okay, I might have been a little cranky, but not because of food. But I was not hungry. And so, because I'm not going to say I'm never cranky because that would just be lying. But anyway, but I would still eat peanut butter with my apple in the morning, and I would still have avocado with certain salads at night, and I still had like a handful of almonds just to carry me through the day sometimes because I just feel like I just needed a little bit of a burst of energy or something. And so those are not bad. Now, if I were to cut all that out and really measure it or control it, I guarantee you that this last 15 pounds that I'm quote unquote struggling with would be gone. And that brings me to another concept that is very interesting. It's called the 80% versus 100% concept. Now, we get what's referred to as decision fatigue. And so if you're always having to make the decision, then you get tired of it and you can't make any more decisions. But if you've made the decision and you've created the identity of who you are, then you never have to make that decision again, and so therefore you don't get decision fatigue. So for example, I gave up sugar years ago because it was giving me migraines. I didn't want migraines, so I chose migraines or sugar. The migraines just were so bad that I just didn't care if I just never had sugar again. And even then, my theory was, well, if I get a little bit in ketchup, or if I get a little bit in this salad dressing, or a little bit in that salad dressing, it wouldn't affect me. And so as long as it didn't affect me, I was okay. So I didn't have to make a decision again whenever I would get a plant-based ketchup or a plant-based salad dressing. I just would eat it, and I didn't have to care about what the ingredients were. And so I didn't have to make that decision. But when that little trace amount of sugar started affecting my headaches as well, then I had to remake a new decision. And I had to identify myself as someone who does not eat processed table sugar. So it's easy. Now, if there is anything with processed table sugar in it, I don't eat it. I don't have to make that decision. It is who I am. It is what I do, because I don't want the headache. So that's where the 80% versus the 100% comes in. If you're sitting here at 80%, like I was, well, it's okay if it's in a trace amount here. It's okay if it's in a trace amount there. It's okay if it's in a trace amount there. You start adding up those trace amounts, and it's amazing how you just got a half a cup of sugar in one day, and you didn't even realize it, and your headaches are coming back. Or in my case, that's what happened. So for me, going 100% was so much easier, because now I don't have decision fatigue, and I can just identify with, I don't eat table sugar. There you go. I don't eat processed oils. There you go. When we first started this, we would, have some processed foods, and it had a little bit of oil in it. It's okay. It's okay. And I'm still like that with salt. I've even mentioned that on this channel. The salt does not seem to bother me. So if it has some added salt, like beans or something like that, I'll rinse it. But I'm not as picky about that. But I'm also very conscientious that I'm not doing that every day. So if it happens once or twice a week, it doesn't bother me. But if it's happening every day, then I'm back to a decision fatigue issue. How important is it for me? So the overall reason that I chose eating a plant-based diet was for health, ultimate health. To be as healthy and nutritious as I could possibly eat, to have as much natural energy as I could possibly have, to have better sleep that I could ever have. I don't want to be 50 years old and not able to keep up with my daughter, who's only going to be 7 at that point? That's going to be her prime of when she is so active, and I want to be there for her. So for me, that decision is so easy. The weight loss aspect, is a side effect. Nice side effect. I'm not going to complain about it, but it is a side effect. And it wasn't the reason I did what I did. Okay? So, and then I get people who are like, well, that's so extreme. I couldn't do that. And I'm like, dude, you had your stomach stapled. How extreme is that? Okay. I mean, they had surgery. How extreme is surgery so you can lose weight? What I'm doing is I'm choosing foods to make me healthy. And as a side effect, I lost the weight. As a side effect, my skin is clear. As a side effect, I sleep like a rock. Boom, I'm out. I hear her move. I still have like a baby monitor there. I can hear her move. I hear nothing else. I sleep. Now my life is busy, so I don't get as much sleep because I'm up late trying to do stuff. I'm up early trying to do stuff. But as soon as I can get that simplified a little bit more, and like I've said, that's just the season I'm in right now, then that will also change. But, the people who say that what I do is so strict and so they couldn't do it because it's that, I'm sitting here going, you had surgery, or you're considering surgery. Surgery to make your stomach smaller so you cannot eat. Just don't eat. If you're really that interested in losing weight and you don't go under the knife, just eat your 2 tablespoons and walk away. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be miserable. Or you could try something like calorie density, which is a way to get a lot of nutrition. And it's, a very healthy method to providing your body with the nutrition that it needs. Now, I have some friends that have asked me, they follow keto, and they're not whole food plant-based at all, but they were like, I wonder if you can do a keto diet on a whole food plant-based diet. You can. I've actually seen some blogs where there are some people who do that, but it's again, high in fat. So you're eating a lot of avocados, a lot of nuts and seeds. And so you're still going to have that fat aspect. And I don't know how much weight, I mean, you're going to lose some weight, but I don't know how much weight you're going to, if you'll ever get to your ideal, if you'll ever get to that point. Because it's, all you're doing is eating the proteins and the fats, and you're not getting the carbs, which feed your brain and, you know, satiate you and things of that nature. So you can do it. It's not something I'm interested in, because I really like following basically a low fat, you know, plant-based whole food diet. So, I just wanted to, you know, talk about this. Are you struggling with your weight? Or have you got, how many pounds are you trying to lose? Is it something that you've yo-yoed before? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? You know, what's going on? You know, maybe think about this. See if this would be something that would be a good match for you. It's, according to some, very extreme. I don't find it extreme. I find it extremely tasty. I find it very vitalistic, energetic. You know, I like the way I eat. And even if all else, like if I could be whatever size I wanted to be and I could have as much energy as I wanted to be, I would still choose this method of eating, because it, overall, I feel the best that I could ever be. And I will tell you that when most people meet me in public and they find out that I'm currently 47 years old, their jaw drops and they say, at best, we would have thought 35. I can live with that. I can live with that. So, you know, I want my body to be, I want my body to be as best as it can be. I want to be the best Gina I can be. I have a daughter that's going to need a mom, that's going to need somebody to be her playmate and to keep up with her. And I just don't want to be sitting out on the sidelines going, oh yeah, but I just don't feel good. Oh, but I'm lethargic. I'm tired. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be cranky. I don't want to be tired. I want to be energetic. I want to be happy. I want to be living the life, chasing my sunsets, enjoying every moment. Well, at least most moments. I can't say I'm going to enjoy every moment, but most moments I want to have a good, happy life. That's the life I want to design for myself. It's the life I want to design for my daughter. And I know you can do it too. Now, whether you choose this kind of diet or not, doesn't matter. Do what works for you. Because I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionalist. I am not a psychiatrist. I am not anything but a Gina. I'm a Gina. And I'm trying to live the best Gina that I can. So you do what works for you. Just know that you're not alone. And, you know, my favorite life verse is, there's nothing new under the sun. So just know, it's in Ecclesiastes, and just know that you're not the only person that struggled with this. You're not the only person going through this. You will not be the only person that's going through it. And it's okay. That's what, you know, but until people start talking about it and you hear somebody else's story, you feel alone sometimes. And that's not where I want you to be. So, happy week. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy chasing your sunsets. And go eat a pound of green beans, or cauliflower, or tomatoes, or apples, or oranges. So, go have some fun. All right. Thanks so much for coming by. Subscribe if you haven't. Like it if you liked it. Share it if you know somebody else who has some struggles too that could use some encouragement and just to know that they're not alone. Come back next week. I try to post these every Sunday. So I hope you have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon. Bye.